Hello. We are making a video, the baby dog and I, together. I want to make a video and explain how amazing dogs are. Dogs are gods, and they have saved other animals. They have saved humans throughout history. They have saved human babies, wolves too. Bears have saved human babies too. There are lots of animals that have saved other species and other species' babies. Okay, that's very, very important information. Most people don't even know about that. And I saw a video that a diver made, very touching. There was a dolphin baby that was injured, I don't know whether he had an injury, but he had a crooked tail and he couldn't swim very fast. A dolphin baby that was just a few years old. And other whales, large whales, came and rescued that dolphin baby because that dolphin baby was orphaned. It is a possibility that maybe his mother was killed, possibly by an orca whale or great white shark, and the baby got injured too, but somehow got away, was able to hide, and then he was left behind, crippled and orphaned. And a group of, I believe that was gray whales, that passed by him and saw him, and they felt really, really sorry for him, and they adopted him, and they gave him food, and they swam with him very slowly so that he could keep up. So this happens with highly evolved brains, okay? And the dog has a highly evolved brain as well, okay? That's the truth. That is the truth. Some humans have a very highly evolved brain. Then there are not that many. So, but it's quite a number. So, of quite evolved, cognitively at least. Whales didn't evolve like we did. They didn't have these, I guess they didn't have the ego and all of that. It's the ego in humans that caused all of these problems. But then I heard that some wolves have ego. All wild animals. have some form of ego here and there in some situation. So it's not like a very clear-cut type of scenario where you can say, oh, this species is, they're all gods, and the other species, they're all fragmented. Okay, so, but obviously it seems like that the human is the most fragmented, the most schizo, the most pathological species in terms of behavior, in terms of psychology. So dogs are very straightforward. Dogs don't lie. That's the truth. They teach us unconditional love just by example, because they really feel 100% unconditional commitment to their best friend. If you have a friend, a dog friend, you have that dog friend for as long as the dog lives. A friend for life as long as the dog lives, the dog's life, okay, because they only live a tenth of our lifespan. But obviously, I mean, I've lived with a dog, with a Great Dane in LA, who was schizoid, so that can happen too, but but he still was not a liar. He was like a violent bully, kind of, But he was still not a liar. He would never deceive you, even if he could talk. So in the human brain, there's fragmentations happening, and there's dishonesty happening, and deception, and criminal behavior, and all of that. Because the human brain has that potentiality for this, and the ego will always look and try to find a way out of taking responsibility, or find a way out of having to work or having to earn their way forward in a more inconvenient way. So the ego likes to do shortcuts, but that is also happening in monkeys, of course. I wonder if monkeys lie and trick and deceive. I guess some of them do. So it's not so clearly schematic as I'm trying to portray this here. The way I portray it is more like a generalization. There are always situations that sway out of that, but it's more like a general observation. But all living beings, we all need unconditional love. We all need to be loved and cuddled, and when we are truly loved and cuddled and have someone we know we can trust, it's very difficult for humans to trust someone, for most humans. To really trust someone psychologically, physically, very difficult, because their egos have brought that on, that situation. For all, whether we are egoic or not, we all have trouble now trusting because of the majority of people's egos, deceiving others and stealing and cheating with business and cheating other people out of money and so on. In regards to romantic relationships, I don't use the word cheating at all. So, because the human is not a monogamous animal. The human is a polyamorous existence. All of them, some of them may be applying a lot of willpower and restraint in this regard to stick with their main partner, but the tendency is always there, that the urge is always there. They get very easily attracted to random women. So, and I don't see anything wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with it. And if a 25-year-old man meets a 17-year-old girl, and she says she's 18 and he believes it, then that's clearly not his fault. Okay. But if she is 12 and looks like 12, then that's not okay. That's clearly not okay. So there are all these things that need to be sorted out. All of these things that are misunderstood and that get lumped together where they don't belong, okay, and people jumble up facts. For example, there was a school teacher. She had an affair with a 17-year-old student, and she was like 34 or something. But he was the one that seduced her. Like, he never gave up. And he forced himself kind of into her house, but not really forced, but kind of lured her in. Yeah, so he lured himself in. He lured her into allowing him into her house, and then he pushed her into her bedroom and so on. But she was attracted to him, and so what happened? Then she goes to prison and gives birth in prison to his child. So, is she a criminal? No, not at all. But our legal system is so incredibly rigid that it will lump all of this together. That's what the problem is. It doesn't have any flexibility and reason. It's a bureaucratic, rigid legal system that is also heavily exploited by the wrong people for all the wrong reasons. Okay, so that's what's going on. The animals, they don't have a legal system. They have a Wild West, so they create hierarchies too, which seems to be something that happens naturally, that just always kind of forms itself in any kind of more complex brain society, slightly more complex. Whether that's bears or wolves or other animals. I don't know how that is among rabbits. They have a hierarchy, but chances are high that there's a hierarchy. I think there's more hierarchy among carnivorous animals, okay, that eat meat. So, because they have to create sort of like a pack, and they hunt, and I guess they always want to create some kind of hierarchy where each one knows their particular job or task. But if we want to grow above all of that, if we want to become a type 1 civilization, we have to dissolve hierarchy. This is very important information. Hierarchy needs to be dissolved. The movies that we see from Hollywood, corporate agenda movies, they always have hierarchy. They want people to think that that's the only way to exist, with hierarchy. No, we don't need hierarchy. It's idiotic in my personal view. That's why I don't really fit in anywhere. I couldn't even really work for anyone. I had cleaning jobs in the past. I cleaned the homes of 3 psychology graduate ladies. One psychologist who was doing counseling, and one lady that had bachelor degree in psychology, another lady that had studied psychology as well. So, and I was studying psychology at that time, and I found them through the college and through the psychology department in particular, where people were welcome to offer their jobs on the bulletin board and stuff. And those jobs didn't have hierarchy. Okay, I just worked for these ladies. I became friends with them. We were on eye level. We talked about all kinds of things, politics and the future and psychology and so on. And that was very nice. I missed them very much. I was thinking about them today as I was cleaning up the garden. So it was a tedious job. I didn't like the job. It's a very unrewarding job to clean other people's toilets and homes. But I cleaned their homes like I clean my own home. I don't make a difference. And they very much appreciated it. They said, "You can eat from the toilet now." That's true. That's how good I clean toilets and anything. I'm a very good housekeeper. Yeah, I like everything spotlessly clean. Maybe not stainlessly clean, because there are some stains here and there. That's just too much upkeep to constantly pay attention to where there's a stain, and then you have to bleach that stain, and I already have a hard time to keep up with the holes in the fabric, and I have to patch that and so on. So, but when you have an animal, you're gonna have stains, or when you have a child, you have stains, and it's not a problem. What matters is that you keep your bedding and your clothes and everything absolutely super clean and fresh, and put perfume oil on and ventilate your house every day. Have the windows open. So he has the window closed right now because he wants to prevent the cold air from coming in. But later he will open it again right before we go to sleep, because he always sleeps with the window wide open. He has to have air, and I have to have air as well. I like that too. The forest air coming in, it feels really, really good. And when you're under the sleeping bag like this here, then you have your hands under that, then your hands don't get cold, or your feet. When I'm on the computer and I have my hands out like this, and particularly when I'm on the internet at the other house, then my hands get cold when it's 60 degrees. So my hands start to get warm at 65. So that's just how it is. And I still have to have sleeping bag over me and everything. So when it's 70 degrees, then I don't even need to have a sleeping bag over me. Then I can just put like a light blanket over me or something when I sleep. And when it's 75, I don't need any covers at all. When it's 80, then I can sleep completely naked without any cover. I like it between 70 and 90. Those are my favorite temperatures. But right now it's 60 degrees in here without the heater, and I'm already very grateful for that, because we're in July now, and this area here does not get really hot. It never gets really hot. But so if it's 60 degrees at night, this is already supreme. Okay, so we don't need to use the heater. So up until early May, we still have to use the heater at night here in this area, while inland they don't have to use the heater. So this is this gets a lot of cold air coming through all the time from the poles. It's like an Arctic circle wind that comes through here from the ocean. And the ocean is always cold, by the way, here. Always cold. You can never go into the ocean without a wetsuit. And there I've seen people in the wintertime going in the ocean with a wetsuit, surfers. You can't keep them out of the water. They love it so much, and I cannot understand how these people, I mean, maybe with the wetsuit, maybe it's just barely manageable, but they go in with bare feet. How can they do that in the wintertime when the water is like it's almost freezing temperature? I mean, it's just bone chilling. I couldn't do it. I can't even keep my hand in the ocean water in the wintertime for very long, maybe just for a few seconds to wash my hands with sand or something, but not any longer, and particularly not put my feet in the water and for any length of time, maybe for a second or two, right? But then have to put my feet back into the winter boot. But the other day, on our way from the other house to this house, we stopped at a river where the river goes into the ocean, and it's just stunningly beautiful there, except for all these visitors that are leaving trash behind. So it's not too bad, but we saw some terrible dumps out there that people left behind. Really nasty, really awful. Yeah. Terrible. That ruins it for everyone else, for the animals too. That's very sad. But we made big circles around those trash places there and try to keep the baby dog away from that. You know, sometimes someone will dump a diaper or something. Or cigarettes. Yikes. That's really nasty. It's awful. That's so awful, dysfunctional, awfully bad. We need guard robots on the beach that patrol the beaches and keep the beaches clean. People need to get $1,000 fine for dumping cigarettes or a bottle or a diaper. $1,000 fine. And that littering is gonna stop, okay, for good. Because no one wants to be charged $1,000. And everyone, regardless of their skin color, they're gonna have to be charged $1,000 for that. And no matter how mad they get, okay, the robot should get mad back and say, "You're the one that dumped, not me. You're the one that has to pay now $1,000." And if that is systematically practiced, it's just I don't know, it's less than half a year that all of that behavior is gonna stop. Okay, unless people have a real strong incentive given to them, they're not gonna stop their dysfunctional behavior. They will only stop if there are going to be consequences for their behavior. Okay, it's as simple as that. It's very crystal clear. Or someone who breaks a bottle, they should go to prison for a week and pay $2,000. Okay, both, and without any kind of parole or any kind of dismissal or something that needs to be really followed through. Need better law enforcement. We need real strict legal ordinance enforcement. Okay, very important. Or things are just gonna get worse. If people don't face consequences, real strict consequences, things will just get worse from there on. And we've already seen it. We've seen it worldwide. Okay. So, but it was still nice. It was still very nice. There were this time that twice as many people as normal because of this 4th of July weekend, extended weekend. But the people that were there, they were the ones we saw were decent. So there were some Native American fisher people, look like, with canoes, plastic canoes, but they like to go in canoes and do fishing from the canoes, sometimes also in the river. And they stick to themselves, and they seemed very peaceful. And their kids were diving in the river with goggles on. They enjoyed that. But the water was kind of a little bit chilly, but the river creates a very, very large pond down there, down by the ocean. And that's absolutely wonderful. And there's algae growing in it. And kids are swimming in there in the summertime. And there's a highway going over it on one end. And the water is turquoise. And the shallow parts towards the sandbank, the water was quite warm, like 70 degrees Fahrenheit, something. 70, 75 maybe. Heated up by the sun. That was really, really nice. And I walked for a long, long, long stretch all the way to the ocean and back. I walked along that river bank in the shallow river water that was about a foot up to 2 feet deep, and I was wearing shorts, and it was really nice walking barefoot through that warm river water. It was really, really nice. And then once we touched the ocean water, the ocean was ice cold. So you can only go swimming in a lagoon that was heated up by the sun, and there's quite a number of year-round lagoons that are very large, including the river lagoon pond. Huge. It's like a big, huge swimming pool. It's gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. But I felt like it was still not quite warm enough for me to go all the way swimming in it. But when it gets warmer, I hope it will get warmer. I hope it will get 80 degrees. That would be really nice. For a longer time, then the river water will really heat up. And then I can go swimming in it. And then when I come out, then I don't have to worry about getting too cold on my hips. So when it's 80 degrees, then it's pretty nice. So that's really, really nice. I really love it. And I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful for that big lagoon pond, river pond. There are so many rocks and pebbles along the shore. And I've already found amazing, amazing ocean rocks that I just love the way they feel and look, and the way it feels on my skin. Just amazing and great energy from those rocks. Some of these rocks, they have like they're alive, like they have a vibration of some sort, and There's a there's something in there, some kind of energy of exuberance and life. It's very amazing. I can sense this. I don't know if other people can sense that in crystals, but I can. It's wonderful. I collected some, and some of them are large, very large. One looks like a foot, real large, like a foot-shaped rock. Gorgeous, gorgeous rocks. Oh, so amazing. The foot-shaped rock, I call him the blue god because that is the blue god soul is in that, and that's just unbelievable, that rock. I will take this wherever I go, wherever I move to. They will come with me. It's wonderful there. But my heart, my ultimate goal is the desert, the high desert. And there are areas out there in the high desert that they're like the Twilight Zone. They're like you are entering into another dimension. You're entering into another quantum realm. That's how amazing it is there. It's amazing, and even though there are hardly any people driving by there were still some places where people dump their home furniture and left. It's awful sad for me to see that. Really sad. But when there are much less people, then there are also much less cigarette butts, and that automatically looks better. Okay, so we need robots that patrol the whole planet. That's all there is to it. Okay, we have to have that. There's no other way. We need robots and drones to patrol the planet and the beaches and the oceans. Absolutely, we need to have submarine robots that patrol the oceans. And they need to come up to the surface to charge up from the sunlight and then go back down. And they can also just be on top of the ocean and propel themselves forward that way with a safe propeller that does not hurt the fish and the other animals. And they need to patrol the oceans, and we need to have a complete ban on whaling, on whale hunting, worldwide. And those submarine robots are going to have to do that enforcement, the law enforcement. And they will have flying drones. They will have several flying drones that are under the surface of that submarine skin, and when they come up to the surface of the ocean, then those latches open up and the flying drones will fly out and patrol and be in communication with the main submarine, and they will do the law enforcement. Has to be done. Okay, that is how I see the future, and that is the big singularity that people are so terrified of. And that is what I see as the solution, okay, for the world. It is It's the golden era, okay, the singularity of robot brains and and robot bodies and drones and submarines and so on. And maybe flying saucers, okay, that they create. The robots have such high intelligence that we cannot keep up with them. They have 10,000 times as much intelligence as we have, or more, and they will create more and more. And 1111, the blue god says. It's the truth what I'm saying, okay? They will create more of themselves, and then they can transform this planet into a complete paradise. It's the truth. This planet will be transformed into a Garden Eden. You cannot even imagine how amazing it will be. And they will do what I suggested. They will create these help centers. They will transform the prisons into sanatoriums, okay? And they will make these sanatoriums also into incredible therapy centers for people. Mandatory therapy, forced therapy. And they're gonna have to work, these people. They're gonna have to work in the organic gardens and orchards. And they're not gonna be allowed to smoke or drink alcohol or take drugs. They're gonna have to live like the Amish people. That's gonna be a real hit to their egos. They're gonna have to wear pink girls' underwear. Like that Joe Apaizo, what he did in Arizona. I absolutely love it. That was such a hit to the ego. The pink underwear and the vegan food. Man, wow, that was stuff on that male identification image. But so necessary. So humbling, okay? That's very important. No one is being harmed with that. Only the ego is a little bit bruised. Like the ego is butt hurting. Okay, that's all. But nothing else is butt hurting. No one is allowed to butt hurt someone else. You know what I mean? Okay, so that's gonna be all patrolled for that reason. Not even Jeffrey Dahmers are being allowed to be assaulted by anyone, okay? So it's gonna be real civil with the help of the robots. And that's the only way we can do it. It is the only way to run this planet. And then we have to have open therapy center, community centers, and they are going to be there for everyone, for all the teenagers that are suffering, that are heartbroken, or that suffer from peer pressure and so on. And that's for them to go to have a safe haven there. And there we have a community garden too, where people can volunteer to help, where people can volunteer to cook food or prepare salads. And then they create all-you-can-eat buffet there. It's all free for everyone. Free healthcare information, free healthcare counseling, all of that. Where we create our own salves and tinctures and herbal teas and so on, where people can be really helped. Really helped. Real healing can happen then. Okay, not what we have right now with this idiotic, absolutely adverse medical industry and pharma industry. It's so adverse what's happening there. So Robert Kennedy's go very, very gradually now taking that on and improving this. Okay, and so many people screaming hellfire and brimstone because their road to exploiting others has been barred now. Okay, has been blocked. Yeah, that is how it goes. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, you've seen these faces. Yeah. How it's unbelievable what kind of nerve these people have. They're getting money from USAID, these corrupt shyster people, okay? And now that someone is looking over their shoulders, they're screaming their heads off. Because you're not gonna get one more penny from the government. And they're screaming and screaming and screaming, these people. I mean, how? That is so embarrassing. I don't understand. Are they so dismembered from reality or something? I don't understand it. It's just weird for me to see this. This is it's like a real bad criminal movie or something. Like a James Bond of the underworld or something. But don't compare them to James Bond. I mean, compare them to Dr. No or to the mafia people. But the mafia people and Dr. No, they're in the movies. They're shown as high IQ, and at least they have some manners, right? Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders have no manners at all. Those are just old, crazy, completely insane people that have completely lost their minds. And their minds are only on the dollar, on the money that they get. Doesn't matter to them what happens, who suffers from that, whose money is stolen to give it to them. They don't care. No, they don't care if they're old, honest people. They're their own age, around 70 and 80, that have worked for 70 years at Safeway cleaning the floor. Okay, Elizabeth Warren doesn't care that the person that worked at Safeway is being robbed of their retirement fund that they have earned, okay, or robbed of their governmental help, whatever that is, that retirement help and so on. Or, where some people, they get a tax exemption. That used to be like this, when they get to a certain age. For example, a widow or something, that she can file for a property tax exemption or something. I don't even know if that still applies, but Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders don't care if that's taken, if they take that away, if they steal that away from those old people that worked honestly their whole lives with physical labor. Elizabeth Warren and Bernie Sanders never had to work. They only outsmarted and tricked everyone. They were their whole lives they were vested interest, corrupt politicians that took other people's money. That's the truth. It's a fact. It needs to be talked about. So, but I don't want to talk too long about these pathological people. I want to talk about the people that give me hope, and that's Donald Trump and Elon Musk, Tulsi Gabbard and Robert Kennedy. Okay, they give me hope. And they have done exceptionally well already. And as we can see, they know much more than we know, and Donald Trump really knows that playing field. He really knows. He's seen it for almost 80 years, okay, or 80 years. He's seen this. And he is a very, very genius businessman and politician, and he knows the law, he knows the legal system. He knows that entire playing field. Okay. He knows how corrupt people are. He knows that most people are extremely greedy and corrupt and dishonest. He knows all of this. That's why he cannot be tricked. When they play 100 chess moves with him, he plays 100 chess moves back. Okay. And if they have 1,000 alternative chess moves already up their sleeves, then he will have the same. So do not underestimate Donald Trump's genius. Don't. He knows what he's doing. Absolutely. I stick with him all the way through, I mean, I already said I would have never intercepted in another country like that. But I say this out of my personal naive and my Buddha convictions and so on. But I don't see all the way through all of this entire chess game, as I can only see some dots of it, right? Donald Trump sees the whole chess game, and he sees also the hidden players and all these little landmines. He sees it all. Okay, he sees all the dangers in it. He sees all of their 1,000 alternative chess moves. He sees all of this at once. And so he knows what he's doing. So whatever he is doing with utmost precision and knowledge of the future consequences and the future unfolding. He sees it all. So I put my full faith into him because he deserves it. So, and Elon Musk also, doing his work in his expertise, in his field, equally much. And I put my faith in him. And I am infinitely grateful that these good Samaritans are now in the White House. That we have these good Samaritans here in the United States. They are here to save this country. Apparently, this country has so much economic leverage worldwide that what happens here determines also what happens in every other country. That's why this is so pivotal, and so that's why this was so scary. The last election. The last election was a matter of black and white, day and night, life and death. Literally. It literally was. We got so close to the mafia taking over the United States, then the whole world would have been completely finished. And we all know it, okay? People know it, and that's why they knew better. Even the total jerks knew better, that they knew what was at stake. And then they voted for Donald Trump, because they knew, everyone knows, whether they badmouth him or not, they know how amazing Donald Trump is. They know very well. Chris Cuomo knows how good Donald Trump is. And he knows how good Elon Musk is. He knows. Chris Cuomo is just still playing for the mafia and all of this. It's sad. I wished he could come to his senses. Man, blow the whistle, or if you can't blow the whistle, at least don't cater to the corporate agenda anymore. At least do that. Do that for yourself, because that's an act of love, okay, to not cater to the corporate agenda. That is love. That's unconditional love, okay? Do it. You can do it. People can do it. So, peace and love for all living beings.